And we're taking a close look at the children in our state foster care system. Obviously in the custody of the state, and as taxpayers, that means we pay for their care. For an increasing number of those children, part of that care is a long list of prescription drugs. News Channel 4's Allie Meyer recently uncovered the alarming number of children being medicated by DHS.
They are the kids who have fallen through the cracks, the broken, abandoned, abused, taken, or in some cases, saved from their biological parents. Without a biological family that'll love and protect them, these children are left in the custody of the state. It is no surprise that this group of kids has a higher rate of behavioral problems, anxiety, depression, ADHD. But it is a surprise how many of these kids are being medicated for that behavior. According to DHS internal documents, in 2007, the state filled 15,000 scripts for antidepressants for foster kids. More than 16,000 prescriptions for antipsychotic medication. That year, the state paid for 17,000 prescriptions for ADHD for children.
They told me that she had ADHD and ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder.
Clarence Cooper has 4 kids. They are in DHS custody. He tells us his 8-year-old daughter was forced to take prescription drugs. He refused to give the state permission to medicate his daughter, and so he says the state ignored his wishes and asked a judge to sign off on the script.
If a child is in authentic need of medication, no parent should argue that. Any good parent wouldn't argue that the child needs medication. But if a child is simply, if they're wanting to administer behavioral modification drugs or psychotropics to a child simply to bring them under more manageable control, because the kid's screaming for mum and dad and family, that's not the right reason to give a child a drug.
Many of the children in DHS custody who are on these powerful prescription medications are alarmingly young. In the past year, there were 28 infants put on powerful psychotic drugs. 122 3-year-olds were taking medicine for their behavior. In fact, about 1 in 5 kids under 16 are on behavioral drugs. Medicines like paroxetine. In Europe, paroxetine has a warning label on it that it shouldn't be used in children. But according to DHS's own records, they have hundreds of children in state custody taking that antidepressant. Jeanette McCrary spent her childhood bouncing between more than 25 foster families.
Some who were nice, some who were not so nice, some who were just there for like a minute.
As a child, Jeanette says she was prescribed and forced to take 3 different medications for depression, anxiety, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. She believes she was unnecessarily medicated.
Actually, I had a worker at one of the group homes I was in when I was a teenager say that the medicine actually made me worse. She said I was violent when I was on medication and actually asked them to take me off, and they refused.
Doctors think this group of foster care kids may be more highly medicated because they don't come from safe, healthy homes. However, critics speculate they may be more highly medicated because then they're more likely to fall into a group of kids called therapeutic foster care children. The payout for that group of kids is much higher.
There's different levels of foster care: regular foster care and therapeutic foster care. Therapeutic foster care is a higher level of care, and I think that does carry a high reimbursement.
Child psychiatrist Dr. Brett Bell says that's because they require a more specialized, more expensive care, not because the state is making money on that therapeutic designation.
The treatment really needs to be a combination of school interventions, therapy, and medication.
According to the Drug Utilization Board at our state capital, Oklahoma isn't doing any better or any worse than any other state in the country when it comes to medicating kids in state custody.
We're about midway nationwide, so about half the state's children probably get more medication and about half get less.
More or less, we are paying for it. About 25% of the cost of those medications comes from your state tax dollars. Federal monies cover approximately 75%. Allie Meyer, News Channel 4 HD.
The American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry is a great free resource to do research on the kinds of medications our kids are taking for these behavioral problems. We set up a link on KFOR.com/links.
And we